Kill presents Words Carry Us, an ongoing series of live stream events featuring readings and interviews from Kingston, New York. Welcome. I'm Betty MacDonald, writer, storyteller, and host of Words Carry Us. Before I introduce tonight's guests, I'd like to read from my work. This is, Hey, Come See the Light. Hey, come see the light shift through the yellow maple leaves, gracing the porch with dappled shadow. Everything beyond the bird feeder is red, orange red, 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 deep red. The pond, greeny black. The pear tree waits till all the other trees are bare, and then, only then, the leaves become deep, unfaltering claret. Finally, deserting the branches, they fill the recently cleaned gutters. Titmice and chickadees and that other little bird take turns at the feeder after the doves and the blue jays have finished and fly off. This one is Dialogue with Angus. There seemed to be a hopeless gulf between us. My words lobbed back, dropping meaninglessly around me. I can't do this. You're too good at this. I'm no match for you. We're doing it, he reacts. I'm proud of us. You don't hear me. You don't listen. I hold back tears. I do listen. His grown-up arms encircle me. Looking into his eyes, I can see into him as clearly as when he was a child, back when we were each other's first choice. This is called Yesterday I Put Niger Seeds Out for the Finches. I heard the bear last night, I'll start again. I heard the bear late at night, a sound like a human sound. Too sleepy to get up and look, I decided it was not a scary human sound, but a bear sound. I'm not afraid of bears. This is Flying. A glorious morning blessed with clear autumn light under the two huge maples. We inhale the scented air as we rake the golden leaves into great piles. We romp like children. Sydney and I grasp each other's hands and spin in a wide circle. Pretty evenly matched in height and weight, we spin farther and faster. His strength eventually proves greater than mine. My feet leave the ground. I become a human lariat. Eventually, my hands slip from his grasp. I'm airborne, sailing 10, 15 feet through the shimmering morning. I stretch into flight, oblivious of how it will end. Time slows down. I land giggling with joy, cushioned by leaves. Rushing toward me, Sydney can't tell if I'm laughing or crying. Realizing I'm not injured, he collapses next to me. Both of us whoop happily. My son climbs to the top of the leaf pile and pretends to row an imaginary gondola with the rake for an oar. Later, we feast on scrambled eggs as golden as the leaves. As I grow older, I invite the stillness I felt. in that early morning flight years ago. As I approached the divide that makes my passage from this life I know to whatever follows, I will stretch out my being and sail weightless through the veil. This is called Mom, You Already Told Me That. We're going to welcome the people who are coming in now. I'll wait till you sit down. Mom, you already told me that. Mom, you already told me that. My friend Jean quotes her frustrated offspring. Commiserating, I secretly count my stars. Gratefully, I live alone, which saves me from having someone remind me how often I repeat myself, or remind me I'm losing it and forgetting things, or offering to help when I don't need help, or think I don't need help. Most of my friends are more or less contemporaries and don't mind if I tell them something more than once. They've probably forgotten anyway, and they're happy to hear it again. This last piece is called Gratitude. Gratitude for sunlit green, this pond's watery mirror, the hummingbird's buzz, surprisingly loud for a bird so small. Now I'm going to introduce my guest. I'm delighted to have Larry Carr and Susan Shute. Larry Carr is a Hudson Valley writer of poetry, fiction, and plays. His novel, Pancake Hollow Primer, won a Next Generation Indie Book Award. He edited Riverine and co-edited A Slant of Light, which was named USA Best Book Award for Anthology. His writing has appeared in numerous publications. Larry is a publisher of Lightwood, an online magazine, and is a graduate of Ohio University and New York University. He has taught dramatic and creative writing at SUNY New Paltz. Larry Carr's book, Strides, Reflections on 6 Acres, is a collaboration with artist Edward M. O'Hara, will be published later this fall by Capps Press and Lightwood Press jointly. And we also welcome Susan. And Susan, I seem to have lost your bio. I know it's right here. There it is. Susan Shute is a curator, founder, and host of Next Year's Words, a New Paltz literary forum, now in its 10th year. Recently, she placed first in the Capps Calling All Poets 25th Anthology Contest. Susan's work has appeared in many publications and blogs. I'm delighted to welcome Larry Carr and Susan Shute to Words Carry Us live stream.
Thank you. Thanks, and a big thank you to you, Betty, for creating this wonderful series, and to David Schell, the creator of Greenkill Gallery, where we are tonight. A wonderful place to hear things, hear spoken word and music. I want to give a thank you also to my writing group that I belong to, without whose help my book Strides would not have seen the light of day. To Susan Shute, thank you. To Kim Ellis, Tim Brennan, and Stephanie Russell. I also want to thank Edward O'Hara. He and I found each other at a gallery show, and I loved his work, and he was doing very similar things that I was doing, going out into nature, creating pieces of art in a more abstract way. And we really liked each other's work and decided to collaborate on this book together. So we're going to read a little bit from this book today. Eddie has an artist statement. He couldn't be here today. He is out of the country, poor thing. And I do want to read a little bit about his art, just a short paragraph. Eddie says, "My art is a physical process inciting a metaphysical result. My drawings and paintings avoid all recognizable imagery, allowing the viewer to explore and feel the work without the articulation of a specific narrative. My art intends to connect the audience to their world in a fresh, visceral, and emotional way. The work is produced by layering, experimenting, destroying, and recreating the surface on the canvas, paper, or wood." And when you look at the book Strides, which will be coming out soon, you'll get to see about 20 images of Edward O'Hara along with my writing. And a very hearty thank you to my colleague, Susan Shute, founder of Next Year's Words out of the Elting Library in New Paltz. And she's going to join me here tonight, reading with me and reading a couple things of hers as well. The Strides book is a co-publication, as Betty said, of Capps Press and Lightwood Press, which is a press I run. I also invite you all to my online magazine, lightwoodpress.com. It is a quarterly that comes out and brings writers and artists together. So we're in our 5th year and it's going quite well. So please come if you can, lightwoodpress.com. Welcome to Strides, Reflections on 6 Acres. I'll read just a paragraph from the preface before we leap into this stuff. A subtitle for Strides, the Strides collection, is A Year in Review. Most of the writings came about over a 2-year period between the second half of 2021 and the fall of 2022. A few were written later. However, during these difficult months that we passed through, I set aside portions of nearly every day to walk through the several acres surrounding the 1820s farmhouse in New York's Hudson Valley, where my wife and I live. I observed, not to simply look at, but to take things in. I found the time to make notes on soil, leaves, rocks, stumps, trees, birds, animal tracks, and scat. I examined the human shaping of the land, rock walls, stick piles, foundations, generations of detritus that was left behind, once buried but now heaved up by spring thaws or fall torrential rains. I examined shards of pottery and glass, rusty bed springs, a pot, a pan, marbles, and a host of other stuff once possessed, then abandoned or lost. We're going to leap in. All righty. Here we go. Here's some selections from Strides, Reflections on 6 Acres. Perimeter. It takes 650 steps to walk the perimeter, not the full perimeter, but just the one I walk. Sometimes it takes 725 steps, sometimes 645, depending on my stride, a corner cut, or 100 other deep distractions. The two of us lived together with this land, but were never quite comfortable with ownership. We're transients here, like the Saxtons were in 1820. We're names on a page scrolling from past to future until the world decides on a major renovation. I usually don't climb the hill behind us, called Illinois Mountain by the locals, a wooded rise that leads to a rocky ridge named in the long time long ago by someone who took the secret with them. I've searched for the word that describes our presence here. Custodian? No, a little too middle school. Concierge? No, a little too French farce. Keeper? No, too zoo oppressive. Overseer? No, for too many reasons. Agent? Too snarky Hollywood. Guardian? Too Marvel Comics. Watchman, nothing with man and too back alley noir. Warden, too trollop. Steward, good, but everyone will think that's our name. Ostiary, who knows what this means anymore. Curator, curator, perhaps a good fit. We curate here. Maintain, restore, reuse the old, replacing not with Flossie, but with what the house aggrieves. I walk the perimeters a couple times a week, counting steps, but often losing count halfway. Because of that leaf or this stone. This stone. This one, here. Pushed along by a passing glacier, or ascended from our molten core, vomited up from inner belly rumblings, catching a lift on a meteor taxi in a great stone shower. A lost memory now. The past seeps back underground. I stoop to pick you up, and the perimeter walk moves on in silence. Still pebbles run deep. The stone warms my hand, warmth from my body heat, or from the remnants of lava dreams. Unknown, and then along the way we find a place to stop. A mutual agreement. I set the stone down at a place of trust, familiar but new. And there you'll stay until nature, or another one, the one who isn't me, takes it on another world-class whirlwind tour, a circle of memory. The stone has shifted its position in the crusty ether. The land has altered. I've been revised, returned to walk the new perimeter tomorrow. And just to give credit on that, that poem was first published in a magazine called Clear Story. That's C-L-E-R-E Story. And you can also read that online, and you can read it when Strides comes out. I've heard it said, you'll never know another person till you walk their path. Sound advice, I suppose. I walk out onto the snow to find my footsteps from the day before, then place my boot soles into theirs. Up the hill, across the rise, step by step we walk together, soul to soul, trying for the life of me to understand that person I was yesterday. But he's no longer here, a foreigner now, some wandering nomad with only impressions left in the snow. And to give credit, that was published in a journal called Deep Wild, Writing from the Back Country, Volume 6. The next poem we'll read together is called Aviary. Oh, but before we do that, we'll read another poem. Susan, sorry.
These two wonderful poems, short and succinct. Glass globe snow shakes through the trees, incandescent in the moonlight, each flake a ghostly raindrop. Stand to. The blackened sticks nearly disappear. Their peeling bark rubs a chant of snow songs.
Okay, and now we will get to aviary.
The chickens peck and scratch their way across what seems every inch of ground, looking for clues to an unsolved crime. The graft of turkeys follows with old-school eyes. They strut slowly, as if waiting for something only they know will arrive.
And here comes the dodo, with Martha, the passenger pigeon, and a chorus of Bachman's warblers. A laughing owl flies low, nodding to the great auk, looking up. A Carolina parakeet in a mid-air dance with a St. Helena dove, all swirling around an aviary long hidden outside the frame, now surrounding me in plain sight, each one distinct, each a stroke of color.
An arc of Archaeopteryxes swoops down, just passing through. They used to call this home, but now they find more benevolent climes. But maybe our warmth will let them reconsider.
A tureen of pterodactyls glides into view like kites with no strings attached. The gusts of autumn figure-eight them over treetops, then plunge them close enough to feel their skin-tight wings.
And the one who watches over this perches on a boulder halfway up the hill, one of the old outcrops incised with glyphs telling of the day after days.
We're here together in this place, among the glacier stones and lichens, the departed who never part from here, each one, each other's memory.
Stand 4, spruce and hemlock, greener now than in July. Forgive my eye that overlooked you until this snowbound day. These woods will soon become your perfect summer hideout.
The next one is sort of a memoir poem. It's called Ground Glass. There was no garbage pickup in the old days, and if you had an extra acre, you dug a pit, and this became the family dump, an archaeology of ancestry once removed. The terminal for nearly everything that couldn't be refitted or reworn, bones and rotten vegetables, broken jugs and glassware, bent utensils the pig had chewed and decided not to swallow. Clothing kept as hand-me-downs, turned to oily rags, and after that, half-life, they're pitched. The contents seeps into the earth layer by layer, year by year. Perhaps some dirt was thrown over to hide the stuff of daily life, a burial of sorts, but with no marker, no headstone or carved inscription, and never exhumed till now. It's a cloudless day today, a cliché of pleasantry. I walk my walk around the grounds and here and there see the remains of bottles, jars, and crockery tossed into the ageless pit by generations long gone. The winter thaw heaves up these relics from where they've rested comfortably. Slowly erupting in early spring, my April job is to pick up what's revealed and toss them in a bucket to recycle. Shards of glass and pottery, some dulled with age, some still razor sharp. A spiky piece could cut a paw or hoof. So my daily pickup chore continues, but never seems to end. It's a mythic labor to find every shard that's been embedded all these years. Thoughts turn to other times and places where shattered glass lay grounded. Bricks from anonymous hands smash nighttime storefronts, scrolled with yellow stars. And sky-high buildings explode from kidnapped planes, riding on a cloudless, sunny day, just like today. Distant memories circle my solitude, and within my grasp the remains emerge from an earth that never forgets.
Stand 7. Gray clouds give the low-hanging sun a silver mask so it can pretend to be the moon.
The count. No matter how many times you count the chickens, you'll always get a different number. You'll count 7, then 11, then 13, then 20. They're moving targets to the eye, a kaleidoscope of image. Feathered forms that circle like rogue planets in and out of orbit. There's something celestial about them and about their mythic eggs, both sacred and profane. They've harnessed the complex and the simple and live where time is meaningless and numbers don't add up. Permanence. Outside the permanence of latitudes, and through these times uncertain, the east-west stick fence remains, a retaining wall. But memory is lost from what it separates or holds in place. A great, dark wail of broken boughs, whose ribs no longer rise or fall with the breath of snow. This stick-pile fence, weighed down by years of bugs, disease, and snowstorms, by windy hail, and after holding on and out, it disappears so easily from eyes no longer seeing it, and becomes a row of antimatter. But in the long game, it endures and will never reach that place where it becomes no matter.
Stand 5. Her ice storms glisten haute couture. Designs of silver, white run up and down the walkway, but her fashions will soon drop out of season, and she'll cloister in her workroom, sketching out next year's winter line. Gaming. Stone covers moss. Moss covers stone. Stone hides moss. Moss hides stone. Each a seasoned player at the top of their game, whose origin is clouded in an ancient past, its finish line unknown, where no timeouts or overtime, no tie breaks or countdown clock can intercede like the games we played in our infant days when we were stone and moss. Stand 11. Windows embedded in the stone wall still hold 4 shards of pain inside its broken frame and memories of Land's End.
Leaf raking. Repetitive motion should bring on contemplation, but here in late autumn, blank stares wed with blanker thoughts. Over and over, the rake's vertical strokes with its thin-tined oars, with no coxswain or finish line in sight. Leaves, uncounted, sweep onto tarpaulin rugs, then roll up like Cleopatra gifted to a Roman tribune. A dried and shriveled thin facade of former lives are hauled and dumped into the leaf ditch or mounded in the leaf corral, awaiting snowdrifts who will shroud them out of sight. We stand inside, fogging the window with anticipation, like at a children's birthday party, dumbfounded at the magician's grand finale. And with that same willing disbelief, the abracadabra of springtime sun lifts the white snow linen to unveil a modest bank of compost dark and rich, a conjurer's trick that will never be revealed. Winter, it seems, is soon going to be upon us very soon, even though we're having some warm days. And I think we're always surprised when winter comes to us, comes out of nowhere. And so this is a poem celebrating her. This is called Miss Winter. 3 minutes of daylight gone. Where? Misplaced, like gloves or a friend who moves to your acquaintance list, then fades into the dusk of memory. I'm writing as fast as I can to outrun the coming advance. Then, pitched into the coming darkness, my face and words obscured in the umbrade gloom. And then out of nowhere, Miss Winter arrives, always unannounced, always catching me off guard. We've known each other for years, but she always remains distant. Her manner always somewhat chilly, but she was a guest. Would you like some tea?
Yes, that one you served last year, with ice.
I remembered her request and served her a glass of cooling mint.
With ice.
She placed a small box wrapped in silver paper with an orange bow on a low table that separated us. What's this?
A little something to get you through.
I undid the bow and lifted the lid. Light filled the room.
It's just 3 minutes worth. I stole it. There'll be another one tomorrow.
And then she was gone. But her presence, along with her brisk scent, will remain for a dozen weeks. We'll end this section with Deep Horizon. The autumn wren in a sunset cloak seduced by southern winds. The autumn wren cloaks in darkness, her compass needle trembles. The autumn wren charts the course far from snow gust breath. The autumn wren airmails herself to latitudes all-knowing. The fallen pine crazy glues onto a sheath of winter quiet. She ends her century-long study of the stairway sky to begin her deep horizon contemplation. That is a selection from Strides, Reflections on 6 Acres. And I'd like to pass the baton, the literary baton, to my dear friend and poetic colleague, Susan Shute, who has brought a poem or two to read herself. So, Susan.
Thank you, Larry. I'm going to read 2 sonnets. They're election sonnets, and they have an epigraph. When I do count the clock that tells the time. That's from Keats. The first sonnet was written a little after November 5th, 2016, so I call it the postlude. I heard the news, crack of coming autocracy, natural nation now foreign, homeland parsed to pieces of incivility, except, I'm not your damn demographic, I'm still with her. I raise my hand in the class of rage, I am called on. Mother's elephants cannot hide the orange man. Reason would stay, but I feel like running. Canada no longer allows the right of return, the case presents itself, the suitcase stuffed with pots of exhausted soil from dead plants, unread books, colored pencils, the mini Mickey Mouse cookie jar with chipped red paint and faded yellow buttons, cassettes unplayed for a decade, and 15 years of stacked New Yorkers. Too much of a lifetime to abandon. And now it's 2024, and I'll read the sonnet called The Prelude, which I actually wrote in 2020, but here we are again. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. Medication unmade, we are not patient. We gulp sleeping aids with whiskey to bar what if the wrong decision, what if no decision, what's the call? She said, I carried the conviction from childhood, but discovered in 2004, we Americans are not nice. There is no succor here. Impatient, not impatient. The mind is rushing, rushing. If 3/5 of white people voted for Trump, I am 2/5. Today, I bought a 5th. Can I raise a glass to Anglo-Saxon ancestors? What to disinherit? The mind is rushing, not Russian. Words cannot form sentences. Even friends cannot find words, each alone in our unrest. What if?
Wonderful.
So now it's time for me to shill for the literary series I lead in New Paltz
Please.
called Next Year's Words at Elting Memorial Library. This is our actually 11th year. Our next event is inspired by a traditional literary happening, which Larry and I have been talking about for some years, a salon, and it's happening on November 20th. Those poems I read allude to the subject of the salon, political poetry. So go to our Facebook page and sign up for the mailing list, and maybe you'll be one of the lucky few, 10 to be precise, to participate in Power Poetics for the Body Politic. Then on December 18th, join us for our regularly scheduled program, to which all are invited at the library and on Zoom. It's free. We will feature poets Sandy Yanone, Suzanne Fishcorn, and Arthur Russell, and we have refreshments, and we have an open mic. Come. So thanks to all for being here. Thanks especially to Larry for inviting me to read along with his wonderful poems. And thanks to Betty. Accolades for your wonderful series. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Betty.
Thanks to both of you. Tonight's guests on Words Carry Us live stream from Greenkill have been Larry Carr and Susan Shute. The November-December exhibition at Greenkill is Truett and Truett. You're invited to the opening party Saturday, November 2nd, 5 to 7 p.m. The exhibition runs from Saturday, November 7th, until Saturday, December 28th. I think that date, I must have written that date down wrong. I believe the party is on November 7th. To arrange for a special appointment to visit the gallery, please call 347-689-2323 or contact us at 229 Greenkill at greenkill.org. For more information about exhibitions as well as live stream and live audience events, located at 229 Greenkill Avenue in Kingston, New York, Greenkill is a public arts performance and education space. We're deeply grateful to David Schall, who organizes, directs, and makes things happen here at Greenkill. Shirley Hoffman-Warren composed and performed our musical theme with recording engineer Jason Warren assisting. Many thanks to you for tuning in and watching us on YouTube, and very special thanks to tonight's in-studio audience. Thank you. Again, our guests tonight have been Larry Carr and Susan Shute. I hope you've enjoyed Words Carry Us for October 25th, Let's try that again. I hope you've enjoyed Words Carry Us for October 25th, 2024. I am your host, Betty MacDonald. Greenkill out.